My name is Leo. This story began on the absolute darkest night of my life. I lost my job and my hope completely. But I found a magic rusty green mailbox. It changed my destiny forever. The cold wind hit my face hard tonight. It was exactly midnight in a strange small town. I walked down the dark street entirely alone. I drank a lot of strong alcohol earlier. My brain felt very heavy and dizzy. I lost my big city job today. My cruel manager fired me without any warning this morning. I felt like a massive and stupid failure. I needed a warm place to hide from the freezing wind. I saw an old abandoned post office building nearby. The wooden front door was broken. I squeezed inside very quietly. The dark room smelled like old dust and dry paper. I sat on the dirty floor slowly. A rusty green mailbox stood in the corner. Suddenly, a yellow envelope fell from the box. It hit the floor quietly. I picked it up with shaking hands. I opened the old letter under the bright street light. The handwriting was very beautiful and elegant. The ink was completely dry and faded. The date at the top shocked me completely. It was written exactly 50 years ago today. A young girl named Rose wrote the message. She wrote to anyone who could hear her cries. Her letter said her family watch shop was failing completely. Her father was very sick and entirely exhausted. They had absolutely zero money for daily food. She begged the silent universe for a miracle. She felt deeply scared and alone. Her quiet words touched my sad and drunk heart. We were both drowning in our own dark sadness. I looked at the empty clerk desk near me. I found some old blank paper and a pen. The strong alcohol made me very brave. I decided to write a reply. I wanted to talk to this sad ghost tonight. I started writing my letter with a messy hand. I told Rose she was not alone in her pain. I explained my terrible situation in the big city. I wrote about my cruel boss and lost career. I told her my life was a complete bad joke. I said the modern world was incredibly harsh and cold. I poured all my bitter, angry tears onto the paper. I did not hide my deep shame at all. I confessed my absolute fear of the dark future. I folded my messy letter with clumsy cold fingers. I walked over to the rusty green mailbox slowly. I pushed my white paper deep into the slot. I did not expect any magic or crazy miracles. I just needed a silent friend tonight. I walked to a dark corner of the empty room. I used my thick winter coat as a blanket. The strong alcohol made my tired eyes very heavy. I listened to the cold wind outside the door. I closed my eyes slowly. I fell asleep immediately. The old post office was incredibly quiet and peaceful. I dreamed about beautiful ticking watches and yellow paper. My ruined life felt slightly better in this strange place. The ghost girl from the past gave me weird comfort. Tomorrow would bring a shocking surprise. But I slept deeply now. I woke up with a bad headache next morning. Bright yellow sunlight filled the old dusty room. I remembered my silly letter from last night. I felt incredibly stupid and very embarrassed today. I left the abandoned building very quickly now. I walked back to my cold rental house. The streets were completely empty and very quiet. I washed my tired face with cold water. I tried to forget the strange green mailbox. I spent the whole day looking for work. I visited many different shops in the town. Every single manager said the same bad news. They had absolutely zero available jobs for me. I felt completely hopeless and deeply sad inside. My small amount of money was disappearing fast. I could not return to the big city. I had nowhere else to go right now. The dark evening arrived with heavy cold rain. The freezing wind blew against my small window. I sat alone in my dark, empty room. I stared at the blank white wall silently. I thought about the green metal mailbox often. A strange, heavy curiosity filled my lonely mind. Was my white letter still inside the box? I needed to know the true answer tonight. I walked back to the old post office. The cold rain soaked my thick winter coat. I stepped inside the dark, broken wooden door. The quiet room smelled like old wet paper. I did not expect to find anything today. I opened the rusty mailbox with shaking fingers. A brand new yellow envelope sat inside the box. My heart started beating incredibly fast right now. I pulled the old paper out very carefully. I opened the strange letter with pure shock. The elegant handwriting belonged to Rose from the past. I read her beautiful words under the light. Rose wrote that my letter surprised her completely. She thought my message was a cruel joke. She said time travel was absolutely impossible magic. She accused me of playing a bad game. But my deep pain felt very real to her. She knew a sad, broken soul wrote those words. She decided to write a brave reply anyway. She wanted to help the lonely, worried stranger. I also thought someone was playing a trick. Maybe a local person found my sad letter. They wanted to laugh at my failed life. But the yellow paper looked completely authentic today. The dark ink was totally faded and very old. No one in town knew my secret pain. We were two sad strangers behind a wall. The total anonymity felt perfectly safe to us. I could say anything to this hidden friend. I grabbed blank paper from the dusty desk. I sat on the hard floor once again. I wanted to tell her my entire story. I wrote an honest and long reply immediately. I swore I was not playing a joke. I told her I needed a friend badly. I confessed my deepest fears about the future. I asked to hear her painful family story. I wanted to know about her sick father. I promised to listen to her sad cries. I dropped the white letter inside the box. Another cold night arrived in the quiet town. I walked back to the old post office. My heart beat fast with a strange excitement. I opened the dark green mailbox very quickly. I needed to see her new message tonight. A new yellow letter sat inside the box. Rose answered my long message with deep honesty. She did not think I was joking anymore. She shared her deepest family secrets with me. She trusted my unknown voice completely now. She wrote about her very sick old father. His weak heart was failing him completely now. He could not work in the shop anymore. He lay in bed with deep, constant pain. The family watch shop was losing money daily. Massive debts covered their small, beautiful life entirely. A cruel local bank wanted to take the shop. She felt completely trapped in a dark nightmare. Her honest words touched my sad, lonely soul. I decided to share my own secret shame. I wrote about my heavy drinking habits clearly. I explained how I used alcohol to escape. I talked about the massive pressure in the city. My cruel boss demanded too much hard work. I felt like a completely useless, broken machine. I ran away to hide from my failures. We found a weird and beautiful mutual understanding. We were two drowning people holding hands tight. She did not judge my terrible drinking habits. I did not ignore her sad family cries. I wanted to save her small watch shop. I remembered the history of the modern world. In her time, quartz watches were becoming popular. Cheap electronic watches were destroying old traditional shops. I decided to use my unique future knowledge. I grabbed a new piece of blank paper. I started writing a very bold business plan. I gave her some very specific strategic advice. Do not compete with cheap electronic quartz watches. They are too fast and very mass-produced. Focus entirely on traditional luxury mechanical watches instead. People in the future love beautiful art style. Create unique watches with open mechanical movements inside. Let the customers see the beating heart clearly. Call this special style an open heart watch. Rich people will pay massive cash for it. Tell the rich buyers about your father's history. Make every single watch a beautiful emotional story. People do not just buy a time machine. They buy a precious piece of pure art. I explained the modern marketing tricks very carefully. I drew a small design on the paper. I told her to trust my weird words. I dropped my white letter inside the box. 3 long anxious days passed without any news. I stayed inside my cold room completely sober. I did not buy any strong alcohol today. I wanted to keep my mind perfectly clear. I finally returned to the old post office. A thick yellow envelope sat in the box. Rose wrote her reply with incredible pure joy. She read my future plan with wide eyes. She believed my strange words completely this time. She showed the new designs to her father. Her sick father smiled for the first time. She started building the first mechanical watch today. I waited a whole week for her letter. The green mailbox was completely empty every night. I felt a little worried about her plan. Maybe my future business advice was totally wrong. I drank warm tea instead of strong alcohol. On the 8th day, a letter finally arrived. The yellow paper felt very heavy and thick. I opened it under the broken streetlight. Rose wrote the words with huge pure excitement. Her ink was messy from her shaking hands. She finished the first open heart mechanical watch. It took 5 days of very hard work. Her sick father helped polish the silver glass. They placed it in the front shop window. A rich traveler saw the beautiful watch yesterday. The rich man bought it for massive cash. He loved the visible beating mechanical heart inside. He ordered 3 more watches for his friends. The cruel bank gave them more extra time. The family shop was finally safe from danger. Rose called me her invisible magic guardian angel. She saved her father from terrible dark sadness. She thanked me with her whole entire heart. She wanted to help me fix my life. She asked about my future plans and dreams. Her sweet questions made me feel very scared. I had absolutely zero plans for my future. I was a broken man in an empty town. I survived without alcohol for a whole week, but my mind was still full of fear. I sat down on the dirty wooden floor. I wrote my honest reply very slowly. I told her I was happy for her, but my own life was still a disaster. I admitted my terrible fear of trying again. I failed so badly in the big city. I lost all my confidence and my pride. I was too afraid to apply for jobs. Rejection was a very sharp and painful knife. I preferred to hide in this dark room. I told her I was a pathetic coward. I wanted to stay inside the old house. The outside world was too fast and cruel. I gave her great advice for her business, but I could not save my own life. I folded the white letter with a sigh. I dropped it inside the rusty green box. I felt completely naked and very weak tonight. I exposed my ugly soul to a ghost. I walked back into the cold, dark street. I stopped at a small local grocery store. I looked at the cheap, strong alcohol bottles. My tired hands wanted to buy a drink. But I remembered her sick father smiling proudly. I bought fresh bread and milk instead today. I returned to my quiet, empty rental room. I ate the fresh bread in total silence. I looked at my dusty old leather shoes. I decided to clean them with a cloth. Maybe I could try again tomorrow morning quietly. I needed her strong words to push me. I waited for her reply with great hope. The magic mailbox was my only true friend. It connected two lost souls across long time. We were healing each other in the dark. Tomorrow I would wait for her new letter. Her sweet words gave me a warm peace. I returned to the post office at midnight. A small yellow envelope was waiting inside the box. I opened it with very eager and warm hands. Rose answered my sad letter with incredible sweet kindness. She said I was not a pathetic coward at all. She told me a beautiful story about old broken watches. Sometimes a good watch stops ticking for a while. It is not useless or broken trash at all. The silent watch just needs a gentle human hand. It needs someone to wind the small spring inside. Then the watch will start ticking very happily again. She said my life was like that stopped watch. I just needed to wind my own life spring. She begged me to throw away the bad alcohol. She told me to clean my dirty old shoes. She wanted me to step outside into the light. Her powerful words filled my dark soul with heat. I stared at the old yellow paper for hours. I started crying very quiet and soft tears tonight. I felt a strong new hope inside my chest. I walked back to my empty room immediately now. I took the strong alcohol bottles from the shelf. I poured the smelly liquid directly into the sink. I watched the dark alcohol disappear completely forever today. I cleaned my small room until it was perfect. I washed my dirty clothes with hot soapy water. I polished my old leather shoes until they shone. I prepared a simple clean suit for the morning. I woke up early on a bright sunny Wednesday. The blue sky looked incredibly beautiful and very clear. I did not feel dizzy or sick today at all. I walked proudly into the busy local town center. I saw a small local bookstore on the street. A white sign on the window asked for help. They needed a smart assistant for the busy shop. My heart started beating with sudden nervous fear again. I remembered her sweet father and his brave watch. I took a deep breath of the fresh morning air. I opened the heavy glass door very confidently now. I smiled warmly at the old manager behind the desk. I asked him for the available bookstore job today. The kind manager asked about my previous city work. I told him the absolute pure truth very honestly. I explained my past failures and my new hope. The old man listened to my words very quietly. He looked at my clean, polished leather shoes carefully. He smiled gently and nodded his gray head slowly. He offered me the successful assistant job right then. I felt a massive wave of pure joy inside. I wanted to run back to the post office. I needed to write a new letter to Rose. I wanted to tell her about my grand victory. I worked hard at the bookstore until late evening. I counted the books and helped the nice customers. The kind manager praised my quick and useful help. I earned my first honest coins in this town. The clock struck midnight as I walked outside now. I ran fast toward the old abandoned post office. I squeezed through the broken wooden door very quickly. The green mailbox waited for my happy news story. I wrote my happy letter with a fast pen. I told Rose about my new honest bookstore job. I thanked her for the beautiful stopwatch story. I pushed the letter into the dark green box. I waited for her sweet reply the next night. But the rusty mailbox was completely empty that night. I returned the next night with a worried heart. It was empty again under the bright streetlight. The magic felt very weak and tired right now. The time connection was slowly breaking apart into pieces. I waited for 5 long days in total silence. I worked at the bookstore with a heavy mind. I feared the beautiful magic was gone forever today. I walked to the post office on Friday night. A very thin yellow envelope sat in the box. The yellow paper looked incredibly old and very fragile. The green mailbox had heavy dark rust on it. I opened the thin envelope with shaking cold fingers. Rose wrote the letter with a very sad hand. She knew the secret time window was closing fast. She said the rusty mailbox was disappearing from view. She felt the magic fading away into the air. This was her absolute final message to me today. She thanked me for saving her father and shop. My future knowledge gave them a beautiful new life. She was incredibly proud of my new bookstore job. She knew I was a strong and brave man. She promised to remember my secret name forever now. But she wanted to give me a real reward. A simple letter was not enough for my help. She told me a very wonderful and secret plan. She built a special mechanical watch just for me. She poured her entire thankful heart into the metal. She planned to hide it safely in the shop. She would keep it hidden for 50 long years. She told me to visit the old watch shop. She said I must ask for the midnight box. Her future family would wait for my arrival today. She wished me a long and very happy life. She said goodbye with absolute pure and endless love. I read her final words with wet, hot tears. The yellow paper suddenly turned to gray, dusty powder. The old magic disappeared completely from my shaking hands. The green mailbox made a loud, heavy metal sound. The thick rust covered the mailbox slot entirely now. The slot was totally sealed shut by dark rust. I could never put another letter inside it again. Our beautiful secret bridge across long time was gone. But I did not feel sad or empty tonight. She left me with a bright, warm human soul. I whispered a quiet thank you to the air. I walked out of the broken, dusty post office. The cold midnight wind felt very refreshing and clean. I looked at the bright stars in the sky. Tomorrow I would visit the famous local watch shop. I smiled warmly at the empty and quiet street. I was ready to face the real bright morning. My amazing future was waiting for me right now. I walked home with a very brave, strong heart. I woke up very early on a Saturday morning. The bright yellow sun filled my clean small room. I wore my best white shirt and black trousers. I brushed my hair carefully before the small mirror. I felt incredibly healthy and perfectly sober today finally. I walked out into the warm and fresh air. The town looked very different to me right now. It was not a dark and lonely place anymore. People smiled at me on the busy sunny streets. I smiled back with genuine true happiness and peace. I walked past the old abandoned post office building. I stopped to look at the broken wooden door. I knew the green mailbox was completely sealed shut. The beautiful magic time bridge was gone forever now. But the deep warm memory lived in my heart. I continued my walk toward the main town square. Rose gave me the address in her final letter. My heart beat very fast with deep, strong excitement. I turned the corner and stopped in absolute shock. I could not believe my own wide-open eyes. A massive and incredibly beautiful store stood right there. It was the biggest shop in the entire town. Large, shiny glass windows reflected the bright morning sun. The building looked extremely rich and very highly successful. A huge gold sign hung above the main door. It read Rose and Family Fine Luxury Mechanical Watches. My future business advice truly worked a massive miracle. Rose built a powerful and rich empire from nothing. She saved her father and created a huge legacy. I stood outside the giant glass window for minutes. I looked at the beautiful, expensive watches on display. They all had the open, mechanical heart design style. Rich customers walked inside the shop with happy faces. My secret invisible friend was a massive local legend. I took a very deep breath of warm air. I opened the heavy glass door with shaking hands. A soft, sweet bell rang gently in the air. The large shop smelled like expensive wood and perfume. Many busy workers helped the rich customers very politely. I walked slowly toward the main wooden front desk. A tall young man stood behind the shiny counter. He looked exactly the same age as me today. He wore a very sharp and expensive gray suit. He had kind, warm eyes and a friendly smile. He looked exactly like a successful and smart manager. He asked me how he could help me today. My mouth felt incredibly dry and extremely nervous today. I cleared my throat and spoke with quiet voice. I asked him about the special secret midnight box. The young manager stopped smiling for a short second. His kind eyes grew wide with absolute pure shock. He looked at my face with deep, intense focus. He asked for my full real name very quickly. I told him my name was simply Leo today. The tall manager took a very long, deep breath. A massive, warm smile returned to his young face. He said his family waited 50 years for me. He told me to wait right there for him. He walked quickly toward a secret dark back room. The tall manager returned with a heavy wooden box. The beautiful box was made of dark, shiny wood. He placed it on the glass counter very gently. He said his grandmother Rose built it for me. She gave him strict rules before she passed away. She told him a man named Leo would come. He must wait patiently for my arrival one day. He must give me this box without any payment. The young manager smiled and pushed the box forward. My hands shook completely as I touched the wood. I opened the heavy lid with a loud click. A beautiful silver mechanical watch rested on soft velvet. It was the most amazing machine in the world. The front glass showed the complex ticking gears inside. The tiny golden wheels moved with perfect smooth grace. I picked up the heavy watch very, very carefully. The cold silver metal felt incredibly perfect and strong. A small folded white card lay under the watch. I opened the thick card with a fast heart. The card showed beautiful, elegant handwriting from the past. She thanked me again for saving her whole family. She said she lived a very long, happy life. Her father lived many more good years in peace. They built this successful, huge shop together with love. She wanted me to have her absolute best masterpiece. She wrote that time is a very precious gift. We must never waste it on fear or sadness. She told me to wear this shiny silver watch. She wanted it to guide my new brave path. She told me to shine brightly in my world. I turned the heavy silver watch over very slowly. Some tiny beautiful words were carved on the back. The shiny metal said to wind your own spring. Tears of pure joy fell from my warm eyes. I wiped my happy face with my clean sleeve. I took off my cheap old plastic digital watch. I put the beautiful mechanical masterpiece on my wrist. It fit my tired left hand absolutely perfectly today. The soft ticking sound felt like a living heart. It was the sweetest music in the whole world. I thanked the young manager with a deep bow. He shook my hand with very warm, strong respect. I walked out of the rich shop completely changed. The bright morning sun kissed my face very warmly. My dark past was completely gone and totally forgotten. I looked at the beautiful ticking watch once more. I had a good steady job at the bookstore. I had a brave new heart full of hope. I stepped forward into the busy and bright street. My brand new wonderful life officially started right now. I smiled at the beautiful blue sky above me. I was finally ready to live my best life. I was not a sad coward in the dark. I was the proud owner of my own time. My invisible friend saved me across the long years. I will never forget the magic green metal mailbox. The end of the sad story is here today. I am completely healed and very strong right now. Thank you for reading my special Magic Time story.